Let me put my phone on silent. Da, da, da. I think we're live.
Okay, I'm waiting for it to pop up on my end.
Yeah, might take a few seconds.
There we go.
All right, we're live.
We did it.
Welcome everybody. I know it's been like 4 weeks. Well, we missed 3 weeks, so it's been a hot minute since we've actually made it to pick our brains.
Well,
But
mostly my fault though. I've been very sick.
2 were your fault and 1 was my fault. Which last week you were sick, so I guess we both had a reason. I was shopping for books way up north.
I thought everybody would be in a line to wait for us.
I know our Turner should be in here. He was anxious. This video is sponsored by Dr. Pepper.
Or the fake Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I tried a couple different kinds of Zevia last week. I wasn't too impressed with one of them. I forget what flavors they even were.
Yeah. Also, I don't know, you drank it out of a can.
Yeah.
It's clear, right? Yeah, you didn't even realize it because you drink out of a can. It's a clear soda.
So it doesn't have any red dye number 40?
No, or 41.
Well, then that's probably why it doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
Hey, I do have one book. I have a couple books to show you that I was gonna list these. I listed some children's books yesterday, and I was gonna list these, but I kind of really like them, so I might hold on to them for a minute. So this is The Land of Long Ago.
Okay.
The spine has been nicely repaired.
Yeah.
But you open it up and watch this.
Fold down.
Yes, pop-up books. I don't think I saw a date. I'm guessing 1890, mid 1890s. Yeah, there's no date, but it's a pop-up book from the 1890s, and it's the fairy tales. So let me find. I'll show you a couple more of them while we're.
And how is the condition of the pop-ups? No rips, no tears.
There's some rips and little minor tape repairs and stuff, but look at it, Little Red Riding Hood pop-up.
It's amazing that a kid didn't just pull the wolf out of that.
Yep, really crazy. Let's see this one, Sleeping Beauty. So we had Little Red Riding Hood, we had Sleeping Beauty. I forget what the first one was.
That stuff just never survived.
Yeah. Here's that one's kind of difficult to open, but it's Puss in Boots. And then here's there was an old lady that lived in a shoe. I mean, absolutely crazy to find a pop-up book intact from the 1890s.
If you did that on Whatnot, people would come just for that book.
Yeah. And there's 5 really nice pop-up sections in it. That one's pretty special.
I would, don't put it in the safe. Put it on Whatnot.
It's not good enough to go in the book safe, but. And then there was one more that I also need to hold on to for a minute. It's called In the Fields, Father Tuck's Panorama series. So you got the horse, the draft horse there on the front cover. Then you got another horse. Then you got some puppies. Then you got, what is that? Some goats. Then you got some donkeys or mules.
Could you do a 10-book vintage children's kids book show? Whatnot.
Yeah, I've sold lots of children's books, and a lot of them.
10 though.
I what? Oh, do 10 really good ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think these would bring. I mean, I think they're both worth 50 to 100, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sold kids books on Whatnot, and some of them have brought crazy prices. $50, 50 to 75, which is great for a antique kids book. No one in the chat. It's a little bit slow. Maybe I'll share the link. And if anyone wants to stop and say hi, feel free to.
That's what happens when you miss 3 weeks.
Yeah, we got off schedule. People think we gave up. But we are hoping.
I knew they didn't have it in them.
Yeah. Fairfellow. What is it? Fairweather followers.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to get back on schedule, and we have some interesting stuff to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what our topics were going to be?
Well, I know that we want to do a precursor on a show we're going to do this week where we're going to talk about whatnot. I know we're going to talk about whatnot extensively and
Hmm.
what we see. I think we talked about whatnot 3 or 4 months ago extensively in an interview, me and you. And I would say the site has changed considerably since then. And I think we should talk about what we see,
Okay.
what it looks like now. And I would also like to talk about the successes we've had both individually as sellers and as joint sellers, where I've helped you out with things and you've sent things to me, and the networking possibilities with whatnot, with consignment, and not just me and you, but people can really use whatnot as a consignment tool, like Paper Gold member Wardell is doing right
Hmm.
now
Yep.
with signed Playboys. Um, and he's already got those signed Playboys. He's got them on whatnot in the buy it now, and he's also already run an auction. So even he has branched out from where he initiated his venturing into whatnot. Even he's seeing what the future is.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I definitely want to work on expanding my side of the business is consignments. Me and you have definitely been working back and forth with I'll send you books whether it's for eBay or whatnot, and you send me books for auctioning off on eBay. Do you want to talk about that a tiny
Yeah,
bit, the books you
I
sent
would.
me for
Yeah, I
eBay?
think we should start with that.
Okay, let's start with it.
You go.
Okay, so Max mailed me 6 boxes of books. He um bought a
From a house,
collection.
yeah, from a house
Yep.
clean out.
House cleanup. Max ended up with the books from the house cleanup. And what'd you do? You put some on eBay, you put some on whatnot, you mailed some to me.
Yeah, I'm 2025. I'm really about not having the death piles that I've learned how to deal with better. And so I did a clean out, and um I mailed you 6 boxes of books that I knew that your expertise and your clientele would love. I could have easily listed them, but I think that your clientele is a lot more quick to the punch than my clientele for these types of books, leather bounds, 1,800 books, sets of books. So I mailed you 6 boxes. I put about 50 books on eBay. I did a few whatnot shows. I would say 3 whatnot shows, and cleared out about 300 books on whatnot. And then there was also about 40% of the clean out were books that I just had to dispose of. So the books are now all gone, except for some of the eBay books that I have listed. But the ones I sent you, you're going to talk about in a second. 6 boxes of books gone, for phenomenal money. I've sold some on eBay on my end, and then what's left, and then in addition to that, the 3 whatnot shows was close to $2,000 in book shows. So from a free clean out, there's a lot of money to be made. And now you can talk about what you did with what I sent you and how much money we did.
Yeah, so 6 boxes. So there was about 18 individual books and then about 8 leather sets of books. Some really cool stuff. There was an old Henry Fielding. There was a French royalty set. Blanking on. There was a History of England set from the early 1800s. They weren't all in perfect condition, but they were all complete leather sets.
Right.
I think there was about 26 lots total that ended that night, and they ended up bringing over $3,400, which is, I mean, an absolutely amazing night. And actually, the highlight was In Darkest Africa by Henley Stanley, which anyone that deals in old books has seen probably tons and tons of copies of that one. But this was a special limited edition of 250 copies that was signed by the author. And actually, um,
Damaged.
it was damaged. Uh, Crazy. I think it was just in volume 2, but it had some crazy wormholing, like big chunks of pages missing. So,
Right through the whole book. And
yep,
it's a thick volume.
yep,
And
yep.
the whole thing
All
was
the way through, all the way through the book. Um, Now, if there, everyone for a nice set of those is asking 2 to 8,000. But none of them have sold on eBay in the last 3 years, so it's really tough to put a price on that. And then especially with the damage, you should be happy to get what you get anything for it. And it brought over $1,000.
And how did it was sitting at 2 to 300 and then it leaped up.
Yeah, I think it was at 300 for a while, then it was at 400 up until the last minute of the auction, then it jumps to 1,000 the last 10 seconds.
Crazy.
It's really fun watching my auctions.
And what people need to understand is that's $3,400 in one day's total.
Yep.
Of a 10-day auction. So you would listed them 10 days before, but the money that we made on that one day was $3,400.
Yep.
I mean, repeat, rinse and repeat if you can. But
yeah, you can't be selling that much in a day. With buy it nows, it'd be almost impossible,
right?
Unless you had an absolutely insanely huge inventory.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's way better than my average night, but
right. Now, before knowing you and having this relationship with you with books, I would have had to list them, and I would not have auctioned them. I would have best offered them, and the sheer idea of being able to send you 6 boxes, getting rid of them, and you subsequently selling them and getting rid of them, that wonderful transaction network is like a factor. It's like a conveyor belt of selling.
Yeah. I wish more people would do it, because I mean, if you could just I've had a few different people in the Paper Gold group just mail me a box of books, and in about 3 weeks I cut them a check and they're paid. All they gotta do is package them, ship them to me. I'm gonna spend several hours listing, several hours shipping then afterwards. So I do all the work and you just get paid.
There's nothing wrong with that though, ever.
Yep. We do have a question from Art.
Okay.
Data Productions Media. Everyone check out his YouTube channel. He says,
Yeah.
"Hi Ken. Since he just started a YouTube that's focused on book selling business, he wanted to know if there's any topics that perform well on our YouTube channels. What kind of things should I post and talk about?" So yeah, I mean, you have a BookTube channel as well.
Yeah.
Yours is mostly interviewing booksellers and then also interviewing people that are in the book business, I suppose, with the members of the group.
Yeah, it's a mountainous climb. Nothing we do is ever going to go viral.
No.
It's for a niche audience, and a niche audience. You have to love what you do. And I do think, though, you're very successful, Ken, at your what sold videos and your unboxing videos. And I think that could be a direction Art could go in, because he's a newer seller. The excitement of him selling a $50 book or having a $400 Sunday could be very exciting to other new sellers out there.
And you know what? I think part of the reason I do the YouTube channel, I'm never going to get rich off ads and stuff. Right. Never. But I think one of the things I like to promote, by unboxing, I tell people that, hey, these items are going to be up on my eBay, or sometimes I'll do a specific video with just 3 really cool books that are up for sale on eBay. So that's one way. If you can use it to promote your business and be like, hey, check out this really cool book, I'm going to be selling it. Reach out if you're interested. Or hopefully push people to your eBay or whatnot page. I think that's one of the benefits. Otherwise, I do bookstore tours. So there's several different bookstores I go to regularly here in Wisconsin and Minnesota. So I like to show off those people businesses as well. And actually, one of those videos, one of the people that watched my video of a bookstore tour down in Viroqua actually went down to Viroqua and now was working with the owner to sell books for him. So that's kind of cool.
Driftless books.
Yep, that's kind of a cool little connection I made just to try to promote other people's businesses as well.
I also think for Art, don't just be a book person. He's much broader than that in his intellect and his knowledge. I think he could bring in the world of business into his videos.
And I will say Josh Graff, one of some of his videos that do insanely well are showing off like these are the best sci-fi books, or these are the best horror books, or these are the best science
Yeah,
books.
the
So
highest sold books. Yeah, the
so
highest.
so you could do some kind of research topics. You could research the hottest selling books of the year or something. But those kind of things always do well for Josh Graff.
Mhm.
I would love to do more interviews with local booksellers and stuff I work with, but I'm not as social as Max, so I leave that up to him.
Well, where you do the tours, I do the interviews.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think you and I have it pretty well covered.
True. You want to talk about eBay a little bit?
Yeah, I would hope so. We can talk about eBay and whatnot, and Amazon and Etsy and
Well, I
Macari.
will say one thing that's definitely on a lot of resellers' minds and booksellers is that eBay seems to be not doing as great as it normally does.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in January and February who had very slow months. Matter of fact, I know we've talked about this recently. There's been a little bit of a run of people quitting eBay
Yep.
and going to more live auctions and stopping with the stagnant selling and going whatnot or Dibbit, I think it's called Dibbit or Dibbit,
Yep.
and just doing more live. That way you get the product, you sell it within a week, you get rid of it, and you go get more product. So nothing is ever sitting around, which I think is part of the evolution of what's happening now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been switching over to the auction model completely for I mean, I started that probably 5 years ago. And it works absolutely amazing. And I mean, I've had 5 years of making profit on almost everything I buy and sell, and it's instant cash. There's cash coming in every day.
Right.
Whereas when I was doing the buy it now, it's kind of you might have like a $20 day, and you're like, well, that sucks. Hopefully, the rest of the week is better.
Right. And with you doing 10-day auctions, you're once you pull books out of a box for a show, those books are not going to be there on day 11. They're gone, they're sold, they're boxed up and they're shipped.
Mhm.
Now you've created shelf space for 30 more books that show up the next day. So you're always you in your business always have shelf space opening up every day of at least 30 books.
Yeah, that's the way I love it is because every month I'm selling over 700 books, which I mean, you'd have to have a pretty massive buy it now inventory to sell 700. To sell 30 books a day, you would have to have a insanely huge online inventory.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, my sales were slowing down in January. They've definitely picked up the past 2 weeks. But I understand why people are leaving eBay. I understand it. I see it from afar. Um, and I think this is just the beginning. eBay Live it's out there, but not for what we sell. eBay doesn't do a very good job of communicating about what eBay Live is going to be in 3 months, 6 months, a year. There's no communication. And that's one of the sad things about eBay for me is there's no spokesperson communicating with the buyers and the sellers of eBay. They're,
Yeah.
it's almost like they built up a wall and it's just so hard to communicate with them. And now that they've transferred their customer service overseas as well, it's not only is it a wall, now it's like a moat of water and then a wall. And it's just hard to communicate with them. And I don't know if they want to be communicated with their buyers and sellers.
It doesn't seem so, and I think they're afraid to just be honest. They're afraid, especially like one of the concerning things recently is all the glitches, whether it's people
Mm.
not being able to do shipping labels, or I guess there was a strange glitch where some people that were shopping couldn't find a buy it now or a best offer button on listings that they wanted to buy.
That
Which,
happened to me 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
yeah, people in the group were looking at your listings and there was no buy it now button or make an offer button. So you're like, well, that's probably why I got one sale or three sales today
Mhm.
when normally I'm getting 10 or 15.
Right.
So and there's it's strange that eBay wouldn't put that out there so we don't have to guess or we don't have to call in and try to talk to a rep and figure out what's going on.
I mean, we go on YouTube and that's how we figure
Yeah.
out that everybody else is dealing with the same issues because people are making videos on YouTube and Instagram, and it's not good business for me. It's not good business, and eBay has a lot to make up in the communication to especially sellers.
Yeah. I will say I am doing whatnot shows now. I think every Tuesday night's going to be my whatnot night, and maybe I will phase out one of my eBay nights so I can still have one night off a week, or maybe start doing multiple whatnot shows a week and
Right.
phasing out eBay a tiny bit, just to see, I mean, I didn't do a whatnot show the last couple weeks, but historically my Tuesday night shows, I can sell more books,
Mhm.
and I'm still selling anywhere from like 700 to 1,000 most sales. And actually, tomorrow night, I have 70 books loaded. So it'll be a couple hour show.
Wait,
And
everybody, wait a second here. You late breaking news coming in.
and I have been sharing this show very aggressively with potential buyers. Me and Max are going to do a special video about whatnot and how to
This
have a
week.
successful whatnot show. I've been sharing the heck out of it, and I have uh over 220 bookmarks, which is insane for a book show. Most book shows get like 20 to 30, maybe 40 if it's good. But I've been sharing it pretty aggressively.
So this is, I mean, I'm glad we're having this conversation now because to have 200 bookmarks, I said to you earlier today, it's going to be very interesting to see how many people actually go in
Yeah.
because you have 200 bookmarks. It is work. You put that work in to share the show. It's
Yeah.
not like this doesn't happen organically. This is time and effort. So it's going to be very interesting for both of us to see how many people come in and then how many new buyers, because that's one of the beautiful things with Whatnot is it shows you when you have a new buyer,
Mhm.
how many new buyers you get for this show. So I'm going to be looking at it from a two-phase standard. How many people are coming in from 200 bookmarks, and then how many new buyers do you get by the end of the show?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I mean, most whatnot shows, most books shows anyway. When me and Max are live, probably get 20 to 30 people watching at any time. There are some people that don't have as good luck and don't have good inventory, or maybe their starting bids are a little high, so they're not getting as many people. And a lot of their shows will only get 5 to 10 people watching. Um, and I think me and Max, we're going to do a special show on how to be successful. Talking about putting good inventory up there, having low starting bids, sharing your show, getting followers, all that stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely getting followers. And you and I have discovered a new hack recently that we'll talk when we do this interview together. We'll talk about this wonderful new hack.
Yeah, this is Max hack number 72. Also, I was watching Common Ground Flipper's video this morning. He had a
Common
new video come
ground,
up.
common
Oh, so
ground,
isn't it Common Ground?
I mean,
Picker.
Commonwealth.
Oh, Common. Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm common ground.
You're Common Ground. He's Commonwealth. Anywho, Commonwealth Picker, his video, he was talking about, he's been hearing a lot of chatter online about people quitting Amazon. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Matter of fact, I was watching a video day or two ago with Avery Romer the Romer,
Hmm.
and he was talking about how in 2024 was the most complaints and cancelizations
Oh, and
sellers
I
on
suppose he would know with he's go-to lister, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was
Uh,
talking about that recently.
and I think they've had like some crazy, eBay had their 0.35% fee increase, was almost nothing. It's going to affect the average person 10, 20, $100 a year.
Right.
But Amazon has had some pretty significant fee increases. And then also their listing software issues have kind of been
A headache.
put people's
Same.
business into a tailspin. What about you? Are you sending in much for Amazon lately?
I'm doing more MF Amazon than sending things in. Um, it's just too chaotic right now, and so I like to have control of the inventory.
Mhm.
But I'm doing about 30 books a week, MF.
Okay.
Nothing major. It's just money coming in every day, little by little. I'm not trying. I mean, eBay's number one for me, then Whatnot, and then Amazon's the third part of the revenue stream. I'm not trying to make it a major component of my business. It's just when you're a bookseller, you should try to do all the platforms you can.
When you're doing merchant fulfilled, are there extra steps or any issues with their new technology changes? Nope, it
No,
works well.
matter of fact, Avery will be happy with what I'm about to say. I use GoToLister to do my merchant fulfill.
Yeah.
I, I mean, I use this. I punch it in. Thank you. And
Then does it print it prints a label for the book, right? Or no?
yeah, but you don't have to have it, I'm a very small merchant fulfiller. When I work with Faith Farm, yes, we use labels for merchant fulfill because we have thousands of books at Faith Farm. Here I have hundreds.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to have a thousand books MF. I'll have always, I'll probably have 500 to 1,000 at most.
Yeah. We have 11 people watching and no questions in the chat tonight. What is going on?
I think they're just amazed that we made it.
That's true. Yeah. After taking this big break, they forgot who we even are. I'm Kent with KG's Unique Rare Antique Books. He's Max with Common Ground Finds.
Yes, Common Ground Finds, not Commonwealth Picker.
Common Ground Finds, where his books are all very common. You shouldn't buy from him. You should buy from me. Right? What else do you want to talk
11
about?
people in the chat. I like when they identify who they are.
Well, we have M. Donnelly and we have Art Turner in the chat, at least. That's great.
Let me get hearts.
Yep, thanks for the hearts, folks. We appreciate it. Oh, we've got some smiley faces.
So I think next Monday night, we'll be able to talk about the Whatnot interview we're going to do together. It should be it should be done by then.
Yep, we're gonna record one. It might not come out for a couple weeks, but
we can talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it for sure. I know we were gonna do it today, but I needed a break.
Right. Well, real succinctly here though, just as a teaser, you've already teased a little bit. You're probably going to do one less day of eBay and one day of Whatnot now. Between Whatnot and maybe eBay Live becomes a bookseller's platform as well. Do you ever see yourself can you see yourself making a switch to more of a live platform?
Oh, I think if eBay would ever let me go live, I have so many more eBay buyers than Whatnot followers. Or, I've just been selling on eBay forever, and I don't know the exact number, but every month I would assume I'm selling to a couple hundred different eBay buyers. And part of it is just if I was doing Whatnot every night versus eBay, I would also have a huge customer base to choose from. And that would expand to the point where I am with eBay.
But let me ask you this. If you were doing eBay Live and you could still put your books up 10 days ahead of time, just like you do now, I could see you selling your books for higher price because eBay Live, I think, will have more people internationally watching the book show.
Yeah. And you know what? Well, interesting. Because Whatnot does have a little bit of a pre-bid thing and same with eBay. eBay, I'm getting a lot of bids leading up to the night and right before the sale, but then maybe 15 out of the 30 books are getting bids the last like 10, 15 seconds. Do you
ever post those little clips? I know you sent them to me, but do you ever post them?
No, I probably should.
It would be exciting.
It's really fun watching my auctions. Some of my auctions will be at like $5 until the second before it ends, and it jumps to like 150.
Yeah.
It's a little nervous
Or
because
it's at
I mean,
$5 and goes 17 to 58 to
yeah,
105 in 4 seconds.
it's a little nerve wracking because I know that that's a really good book and it's at $5 and it's like it. I hope it goes up. And I would say, most of the books that sell on eBay for me, I'm pretty content with the price. But there are some really good deals. Actually, I had a series on my YouTube sharing the really good deals where like a book that had sold for 75 the week before brought like $3 for me. And I'm like, well, that was unexpected. But you know what? I like when my customers get deals because I just look at it as a marketing because people that get deals are going to keep at least looking through my items and watching them and hopefully throwing some bids out there.
And that's just the lay of the land. This is going to happen sometimes.
Hmm.
And one of the things that you know, we get a lot of people who ask us questions about whatnot, and one of the major complaints they always have, which I don't understand, is what happens if you sell a book for $1? Like, if you sell good stuff, it's going to happen so rare, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. But as someone that scrolls through eBay auctions all day, like I usually sort. Sometimes I search specific things, whether it's like Charles Dickens books or Mark Twain or Shakespeare. But then other times I just go to antiquarian books, search by auction, search by ending soonest, and just scroll through those. And 90% of those, the auction start bids are crazy and they don't get bids. I don't know what the number is, but I would guess 90 some percent, probably 95% or higher of the auctions on eBay don't sell because the bids are too high. Not because it's not interesting stuff. That starting price is just crazy.
They're afraid to let go of the book and run an auction.
Yeah. And me and you, same with Whatnot. A lot of people on Whatnot have some decent books, but they're starting them at $5, $10, $20, $50, $100. And maybe out of 50 books that they have loaded up in their shop, maybe 5 or 10 sell. Right. Whereas if they started them all at $1, they would all sell and they would have made $1,000 that night.
And then, I can just sort of highlight that. I mean, I just got done doing a show this evening, 10 books, and each book started at $1, and I did about $600 in 30 minutes.
$60 average for 10 books.
Yeah. Boom, done. And, I couldn't be happier. I mean, to make that kind of money in 30 minutes on a book show, yes, I am not getting top dollar for those books. I understand that. But I also am putting them up for $1. I do not have any eBay competition because if I think I sold a signed Richard Nixon book today. And if you go on eBay now, there's probably 50 signed Nixon books. So,
but you're the only person on Whatnot selling one.
Right. And so you have to understand, be a bookseller, not a book collector. If you get the books cheap enough, if you know how to source books, this is how you make money on Whatnot.
Yeah. And I will say, most of the sellers on Whatnot don't do $1 start bids. Right. But if they did, they could be very successful. And I think that's what holds up. That's what is a hindrance to them. And Whatnot works really well for some people. I would say it works well for maybe only 10 to 20% of sellers have any kind of success.
Books are all subjects.
Books.
Okay, yeah. If I ask you this question, give me an answer. How many successful booksellers do you think are on Whatnot?
It's really hard to tell. I'm always scrolling through and looking at people's shows and
I would say no more than 15.
No, there might be more. I think there's more than 15 successful ones.
Okay.
But again, a lot of them you'll look through the list of auctions coming up in the book category, and some of them have 3 or 5 bookmarks, which just you can't rely on people just showing up just because you started the show and there's people bouncing around the different shows. You need to do a little bit of marketing, which is worth it. If you're going to sell 300 to 500 or 1,000 in your show, it's worth spending half an hour trying to share it with people.
I would say more than that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
let's be honest.
For this show coming up, I spent a considerable amount of time sharing it, but I think low end, it's going to be $1,000 show. I guess I'll report next week. I hope my hopes aren't too high, but me and you, we've had some crazy lucky shows or good shows because of all the marketing we put into them.
But I also think that you and I have been doing this long enough, not long time, but long enough where we're not afraid to experiment. And
Yeah.
you and I have been wrong. When we did that Black Americana show together and we guessed ahead of the show how much money we would do,
Hmm.
we were both $1,000 off. I
Yep.
mean, sometimes it surprises you in the positive.
Yeah. We knew it was good stuff. We knew there's a market for it. Um, and yes, it sold very well. And I will say, you know, I know people that talk about Whatnot and Dibdid and stuff, live selling,
Mhm.
talk about how you might get 30 to 50% of the value of kind of the average thing. But there's a lot of shows that I watch and I'm shocked at how high books sell for that. I'm like, that's a $5 book and someone just paid $50 for it.
Yeah.
And that definitely helps out your average.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe one day Trash to Cash podcast will have us on as booksellers and we can talk
Mhm.
about book selling in the eBay world and the Whatnot world.
Yeah. Codex is in the chat. Welcome, Codex. And M. Donnelly wanted to see the book. I wanted to look this up. I'm going to look this up quick. It's In the Fields, Father Tuck's Panorama series. Honestly, if I could find another one, I'd buy another one. That's how much I like it.
That's because he lives in Wisconsin, everybody.
In the Fields. I'm gonna look this up quick. I'm guessing it's pretty rare. Father Tuck. Nope, there's a reprint. Check
You gotta
out.
love that they reprinted that book.
Yeah, Father Tuck. I don't see any
Are you
of that
using
one.
Worth Point?
No, I'm just checking to see if there's anything on eBay right now. There's a Father Tuck's Toy Town panorama. That one sold in the UK for 56. There's the Days in Catland panorama. That one sold for $40. That was an
I
auction.
would have thought the cat one would have sold for more if you had asked me to guess. Just because there's that niche collector who they love the cat books.
Yeah, but this is farm
Yeah.
animals. There's a Cinderella. Nope. Cinderella one. That one's a little different. I'm not seeing anything similar. I mean, it may be worth 250 to 500. I'm gonna have to check Worth Point. It's a good one. It's a very good one.
But we're
Not,
gonna sell it now live, starting at $1 with all 10 people in the chat.
yeah, no.
Everybody begin.
This came from that big collection I bought a few months ago.
Where the
I mean,
Americana stuff came from.
yep, the Black Americana stuff. I think 3 of the 4 boxes were delivered to New York this morning. He hasn't opened them yet, but still waiting on one. I shipped them when I was up north on Tuesday. 2 boxes were priority, 2 were media mail. I figured for sure the priority should have made it from Wisconsin to New York. I shipped it on Tuesday.
It's so
Shouldn't
bad.
it have been there
It's so
Friday?
bad.
But the post office shouldn't be behind. Well, okay, we have crazy weather here. We have snowstorms and blizzards and stuff. So
I do want to mention too before I forget that this Thursday Paper Gold show, I am doing a PowerPoint, which I do once every 20 shows or so. I'm doing a PowerPoint on how to become a 6-figure bookseller.
yeah.
And so if anyone's here watching the show and wants to see what we're going to be talking about, come on in the Paper Gold. Join for a month. Give me 1 month and let me show you what I do. But I'm going to be doing a show on how to become the do's and don'ts and the things you need to be doing as a 6-figure bookseller.
We've had a couple YouTube commenters join the group, and they're very active members of the group now at this point.
As a matter of fact, I think Grayson just sold a book for like 1,300 the other day.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was crazy. So if you guys don't know, Paper Gold is a group that Max runs. There's about 130, 140 members, and it's just focusing on selling books online and stuff like that. It's a great group. We
Networking,
have
great
meetings every
networking.
Tuesday, Thursday. And then there's a Discord where you can ask questions. And if you have a question about a certain book or how to sell something on eBay or Amazon or whatever, there's 100+ other people um, with expertise on everything. Um, and you can reach out to Max. Max, do you have your little piece of paper with all your socials? If you're interested in joining, it's Patreon. It's $20 a month. Like I said, there's a Discord and there's 2 meetings every month or every week. Sorry. Common Ground Finds up, a little higher, 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 higher. There you go. There you go. Oh, and check out his YouTube channel. He has his very interesting YouTube channel. Though I haven't seen the last few videos yet. I'm behind. You know, I have a very busy.
But if you like Edgar Allan Poe, go watch the recent videos.
Oh, do you want to know how many hours of YouTube I watch a day? It's unbelievably embarrassing.
You don't want to know.
It's a lot. And I just listen to it all day when I'm working on stuff. I listen to
There's nothing
podcasts.
wrong with that, though. It's taking the place of TV. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know what my brain would do if I wasn't listening to something while I was working.
But this show Thursday night, we have lots of 6-figure sellers already in the group. And it's going to be interesting to see some of the takes that they have, in addition to what I'm going to talk about. But there are certain things you can do to get to 6 figures by yourself, and then there comes a time where you need help. You can't do it all by yourself. I do think you can get to 6 figures by yourself, but there also comes a time when beyond, say, 100,000, you do need help in your business.
Yeah. The average person can only list so many items a day. And then sourcing is, I think sourcing might be the toughest part. And keeping up with listing. But sourcing is something that I think everyone could use some pointers on.
Oh yeah. And I'm deeply going into sourcing.
Yeah, even now I still struggle with sourcing. A lot of mine comes just from scrolling through eBay listings, but then I'm always looking for local sources, and those are kind of wishy-washy. You'll have an estate sale company there. I have a couple of estate sale companies that'll call me 1, 2, 3 times a year. And then I have a few people that are always out there searching for stuff and bringing me it when they find it, but it's tough to get reliable, consistent sources.
But also, and I say this in the PowerPoint, you're one phone call away from a deal that will make you enough money for a year, like your Black Americana deal, like my Arkansas deal.
Yep.
These are one phone call. You get one phone call, you have an opportunity, and you have to jump on it. And we should probably do a video on both of those deals and how they came about. But those sort of deals, which could happen to anybody at any time, you do have to set yourself up for.
Yeah. And I think there's lots of people in the group that have scored some crazy deals that maybe we're even, well, probably in a lot of cases were bigger or more money than they could afford, or space that they had and time to haul books and stuff, but it's paid off majorly. I do love M. Donnelly's question. Do you think AI is going to play a big part in book selling?
Already is.
Yeah, I think there's already tons of people. eBay actually, in their description writing, you can upload your pictures and eBay can write you a description. I don't use that. You don't use that at all, do you?
No, not yet. But I could see a time where that happens.
It's really cool because you can upload pictures of a book, and eBay can talk about it. They can tell you why the book is significant, why the author's significant. And then you can kind of just fine tune your AI thing. Or actually, we have people in the group that use AI for pricing their books. That's another crazy aspect of it.
Yeah, you know what? We should probably bring a couple of those people into one of these Monday meetings and have them talk about utilizing AI, because we do have a significant amount of members who are using it every day.
Yeah.
So on that end, I think it's time for me to go. I have Clenia here and Bryce here. I got to get some stuff done with them real quick. But
All right, we got one more quick question.
okay.
Then anyone else, if you want to leave questions for next week, we will answer them on next week's show. We will for sure be here next Monday as well.
Yeah.
Kodak says, like the guy who bought the Norman Unger collection in 1977 for 180,000, spur of the moment decision. He was one step ahead of the others.
Mhm. Life changing. That's and it happens. It literally there's I can just think off the top of my head, there's about six to eight people in the Paper Gold group who've had life changing book hauls in the past year.
Yeah.
In the past year. It's amazing.
And I would say me and Max, we have little instincts about what the business is going to be like in a few years and what we should load up on now. If you know a certain celebrity is going to pass away soon, you can make unbelievable amounts of money. Or all it takes is Taylor Swift to talk about a book, and if you can snag up those copies right away, the book can go from a $10 book to a $200 book pretty quick. So. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And we will hopefully see you next Monday.
Minus the cost.
Yep. Episode 20.